Hi there, Nick Troiano here. June is graduation month for millions of high school students across the country. And college has become all but a required next step, including for 4,500 students right here in Pennsylvania's 10th district. That's because college has become key to economic mobility and success in our country. Those with a college degree are more likely to find a job and are more likely to earn higher wages than those who do not. However, as costs of college increase rapidly, including over 15% for four-year schools right here in Pennsylvania over the last 5 years, it's becoming harder for students and their families to foot the bill and to manage the debt that many are left with, which is now close to $30,000 on average per student. That is why reforms to higher education focusing on accessibility, affordability, and completion are so vitally important to strengthen America's economy and competitiveness. And that'll affect all of us, regardless of our age. A new policy proposal called Redeeming America's Promise lays out some sensible ideas to tackle this issue that have bipartisan support, including from former Democratic Governor James Blanchard and former Republican Governor Michael Castle. One idea is to create something called the America's Promise Scholarship, a federal scholarship for 2- or 4-year institutions worth up to $8,500 per year for academically qualified students from low or middle income families. These scholarships would be paid for not by increasing taxes or the federal deficit, but by reducing government expenditures through today's tuition tax credit. As importantly, this system could put downward pressure on the rising costs of college, because community colleges and public institutions that choose to accept the America's Promise scholarships would have to accept the scholarship as the full amount of the tuition, which would grow only with inflation. And states that wish to accept this federal funding would have to at least maintain their current level of support for higher education. The plan is far from perfect. For instance, I think it would be irresponsible to position this new program as an entitlement on the mandatory side of our federal budget, especially because of the current fiscal situation we're in today. But the plan is bold and visionary nonetheless. It includes other good ideas like expanding income-based loan repayment, fostering more public-private partnerships to lend greater support to first-generation college students, and creating new marketplaces for remedial education, and much more. Now is the time that Washington must act. At a high school graduation ceremony last week at Forest City, Congressman Tom Marino lectured students on, quote, the value of working your way up the ladder. Unfortunately, that ladder has become harder to climb as college costs increase, and Congressman Marino has done little about it. In fact, he voted to cut the maximum Pell Grant by 15% and cut eligibility for over 1.7 million students for that program. In this season of graduation, we need to instead recommit ourselves to America's promise, that everyone who works hard, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to succeed. Supporting education, especially higher education, is a key part to keeping that promise alive, and something I would champion if elected. As always, I welcome your thoughts and questions in the comments section below and hope to see you again next week.